So warm welcome again. Great to have all of you here. And Vellanki, I'll hand over to you for a quick intro, then you can dive straight in. Over to you.
Great. Thanks a lot. Firstly, thanks a lot for everyone to joining in and taking your time out today. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon to all of you. Quick intro. So I'm Harsha or Vellanki Sriharsha. I have been in the product management space for about 9-10 years now. I've built multiple products, both B2B, B2C, so on and so forth. But for the last 2 years also, I've been building multiple AI first products and have created products at my enterprise or my company, but at the same time I've also worked on my passion projects or my interests as such. Built a chatbot based on books to help kids to learn better. Built a chatbot based on characters of Ramayana and Mahabharata, so that people can interact and get life lessons from these epics, so on and so forth. So that's been my interest as such.
Hi, it's Kent coming to you from the future. I am the co-founder of OpenExO, and I want to thank you for joining us to watch this masterclass by one of our certified 38,000 OpenExO members. Today, our masterclass presenter is Vellanki Sriharsha. He will delve into the significance of AI, discuss various AI tools, and outline EXO-compatible strategic approaches to using AI in business. This class is tailored primarily for non-tech and management professionals, because implementing artificial intelligence is just one expression of the 10 EXO attributes, the algorithms and AI attribute. Ultimately, it involves composing and working within your massive transformative purpose. So after you watch this video, if you want to know more about that and take a deeper dive into this attribute and all the other 9, plus the MTP, please join us at an EXO discovery call. Our EXO coaches host them once or twice per week, every single week for free, to help you along your journey of being and becoming an EXO. You can find all the information you need about that at www.openexo.com. The link is in the description below, and I can't wait to see you.
So on and so forth. So that's been my interest as such. So cool. So one big thing I want to highlight to everyone is there's this prophecy by Peter Diamandis, again the one who has written EXO 2.0 along with Salim, which is by end of the decade, which is 2030, there would be 2 types of companies. One, those who are fully utilizing AI and are delivering value. The others are the ones who have gone out of the business. So it's important that we understand the prominence of AI and leverage it in our businesses and deliver value to our users or customers as such. We've already spoken about me, and I'll just quickly move forward. So most important thing, please feel free to ask as many questions as you want. Be happy to address all of them, and feel free to make a note of things. And last but not the least, please take a note. This is to learn, and as a community we are co-learning, so let's learn and make this a fun session rather than a one-way monologue or a boring one uh, uh, that that is not of that value add to you, right? So please stay till the end. I'll also share 30 great AI tools that you can use it in your daily lives and boost your productivity and your work as such. Uh, that's about this. So before I jump and explain everything about AI and all, I wanted to share 6 core messages with you all, which is how can we leverage AI? This is a question that I keep getting from multiple people. The most important thing that I want to emphasize is that it's the AI is just an end to a mean, or a means to an end. It's not the end itself. It is important that we understand, or we have the right mindset and be able to curiously understand it and figure out the areas in which it would be applicable for. So that's the first thing, which is having the right mindset. Second, we have to be on a constant exploration mode. What I mean by that is, in product management or in general also, you would have heard a lot about A/B testing, experimentation, which is nothing but I need to see what works and what doesn't work. We don't know in the current day and age what will work. We have to constantly keep experimenting and figuring out what would work and accordingly expand on it. And that's what is another important aspect that we need to understand. With AI also, that's the case. Any digital tool or AI, that's the key part to note as well. Third piece is awareness. So keeping yourself constantly updated with what is happening across the spectrum of technology is very important. And you need not be worried about how can I apply it right away. That's not the necessary. What is necessary is at least you being aware of, okay, there is something called as a Sora, which is generating video out of just a text prompt. At least that awareness is what you need to have. Whether you will apply it or you not use it is a separate use scenario, but at least having that awareness will broaden your horizon of how your know-how, and then figuring out the applications as well. Fourth point is, as I said earlier also, tech and AI are means to an ends. It's always important to understand the underlying problem that we are solving, rather than just saying that since I have a Thor's hammer, I can nail everything that I see. That's not the case. Depending on the use case and if there is applicability is when we should think of leveraging technology. Over engineering is not of any value. Fifth is, it is important that we become full stack professionals. By that I mean you have an end-to-end understanding of the value chain in any domain that you are part of. You could be an expert in one specific area, but you should understand the end-to-end value chain and how you can apply technology or any aspect of it in your business, so that you, let's say you are an accountant, you are an expert at that, but you should understand how can technology help you. You should understand how this is impacting your entire business. That's very important. Most of the cases what I've seen is people tend to be in the silos saying that I am expert at this, I don't need to know anything else. That's not the case. Last but not the least, change management. Whenever you're implementing or applying any of these concepts that we discuss, or developing any products for that matter, it is essential for you to understand the fact that change is the most important thing, or change management is the most important aspect. You have to get your products adopted. There is no use of anything which is not getting adopted at all, and change won't happen overnight. You need to take a staircase approach, which is a step by step approach to get the things adopted by your team members. So that's at a broad level that I want to set the context about the uh, objective, or more than an objective, a key message that I want to share across with everyone before we delve deeper into the details of what we have to cover, right? So for, broadly, there are five things that I wanted to touch base upon. One is the system of records. Second is system of cognition. System of records is nothing but any digital product that we are using today at a broad level is a system of records. What I mean by that is, let's say you have a Uber, or you have an SAP system, or a Oracle, so on and so forth. All of them are systems in which you are recording some or the other transaction or an event that is happening. System of cognition is basically the AI side of the world, where we are trying to automate things, or we are trying to bring in intelligence into what we do in a workflow, from a work standpoint or from a consumer standpoint, helping him or her to uh, make their lives simpler or easier, right? Then we get into how can we transform ourselves. This is more to do with the mindset and the acceptance of the fact that AI is going to be everywhere. Few use cases, and obviously, as I promised, the 30 key AI tools that I wanted to share across with you, right? This we have already touched based upon. Okay, quick pulse check. I hope you are excited, or not already bored. A quick yes or yeah in the chat. Okay, great. uh, the system of records, what I was mentioning about. So again, a quick check. How many of you have ever used an SAP system or an Oracle system or some SaaS tool in your workplace? Or the greatest of all time, Excel itself, because most of the businesses anyways run on Excel. Okay. So as I see, many of you would be using these systems. It is important to understand the usability aspect of it as well. How usable do you think, or how easy are they to use? Are they as usable as, let's say, a social media platform wherein you just log in and get ahead with it or get started with it? Any views on this? Yes, no in the chat box. Yeah, correct. So it's not that user friendly yet, but do you think, or how do you think it is going to be in future, or will there be any changes? Yes. So here is a small glimpse of how it could be in the future, wherein the entire experience is a conversational experience. You have an assistant very similar to, let's say, the Jarvis of an Iron Man, but that is more voice conversation that you're having over there. While here, you are just typing it across and asking the user, hey, yeah, how are the sales of a new shoe range? So in this case, the example that I'm putting across, the user has is a category leader. Yeah, he or she is selling apparels, shoes, and shirts, so on and so forth. And now they've just come back and asked, how are the sales? And the system automatically goes back and understands that, one, this person was on leave for a while and on a vacation, so saying that, hey, it seems, hope you had a great vacation. And second, it is giving the response as well, saying, this is the revenue that we've hit, let me know if you need any other help. Now if you see, the next important part is the person is also doing a brainstorming with this system, wherein they are saying, hey, I'm thinking to launch a sister concern sort of a t-shirt line of this shoe brand that I have launched. How do you think I should go about it? Now the key part over here is the system is not only responding or going back into the database and checking the historic trends, that yes, this worked well earlier when we've done such a thing, and such campaigns actually help boost the sales of not only the shoes, but also the t-shirts get sold well and you get a better revenue out of it. But it is also giving suggestions about the designs that you could consider for those brands. So, the whole point I'm trying to put across is, today if you look at it, it is not a, it's a just a system of data entry. But that's not how the future is going to be. We are going to enter up, and it's an exponential change that we would see. We are going to enter in this era or phase where we would be getting everything that we need at our fingertips, with insights from what actions can be taken. So this is more of a decision support system at your fingertips in a conversational manner. So all of this is possible with the current tech. Imagine what is possible, what could be possible in the future once this technology advances even further, right? So it- that's the broad level vision, or the sneak peek into the future that I wanted to share across. But before we jump into that, it's important that we cover the basics of the digital systems itself. So let's quickly cover that now. Any system that we build has four key building blocks, right? The first one is data entry. Now, by data entry doesn't mean someone has to sit and enter it manually. It could be a very easy computer vision or an OCR, wherein you are just scanning an image and the data is getting entered into your system. It could be an API integration. It could be an Excel bulk upload, so on and so forth. The data entry, or basically it is a ensuring that the data enters into the system. The means of entry could be changing or evolving over time. The second part is seamless, streamlined workflows. So the workflows that we see are predominantly are nothing but how you collaborate with your team members and the team, the members that you are, or with the system itself over time. So you might have a maker checker system, wherein you would say, hey, this person has entered the data or has created a sales pitch. Let me have a review set for this as well, so on and so forth, right? All of that are part of your workflow. So that's how your collaboration happens even today. Now, the third piece is actionable insights. By actionable insights, I mean very similar to what I was showing a while back, which is the system is telling these are the sales, this is how historically it has performed, so on and so forth. Data is the new oil, we all know about it, but it is important that we churn out this data and get insights from it which are more actionable, rather than just a vanity metric that, okay, I've got 1 million revenue. That's not a actionable input. What is actionable input is, you had a potential of earning 2 million, but you earned only 1 million. Now how do I cover that gap is what you need to understand. So that's the actionable insight. The last but not the least is robust integration with the wider ecosystem. So as I was saying, we collaborate within our team members. Similarly, we collaborate with other companies within the ecosystem that we are working. So it's essential that our systems are integrated with their systems as well, and we have a seamless integration between these two systems. So that's at a broad level the building blocks of any enterprise system, or even for that matter a B2C application also. This works to a great extent. This framework works to a great extent, right? Now, for building all of this, there are three key components for any digital technology products, right? What are those? One is your backend, front end, and APIs. As you can see in this example, backend is nothing but something which is at the on your servers. And if I take an analogy of a restaurant, right, you have a place where, or a kitchen where people are cooking food, and you then have servers or waiters bringing that food from there and putting it in front of the customer who is coming to eat at the restaurant. Now, this here in this case, the place where the person is sitting there and eating is similar to your front end application. Front end application is, like, very simply put, let's say if you have an Uber app on your phone, when you click on it and open it, that's the client tab, which is the front end application. It is talking to a backend server which has all the information about you. This system doesn't, or this front end doesn't store much of a data, but it talks to the backend system and gets that information. Now, how is that information retrieval happening? It is happening via the APIs. Like in the case of the restaurant example, where we have waiters coming and serving us the food from the kitchen. In this case, the APIs are the ones which are talking to you, or talking to the front end applications. That's at a broad level what a front end application, back end, and the APIs are. I hope this at least gives you an understanding of what digital systems, or how digital systems are built, and what are their components, right? Client apps and apps are nothing but your front end apps. Servers are basically where you are storing the data, the backend systems itself. Database. Servers also have processing in them. Let's say you have an algorithm or something which is running in. Those are all also part of your servers. So that's at a broad level on that. Now, before we jump into the AI side of the world, one key thing which has driven the entire AI ecosystem is cloud. I'm okay, not this cloud. I actually meant something else. Yeah, fine. We have the digital cloud available to us, which is where we store the entire data. Cloud is basically, you have your hard drive sitting in your laptop right now, storing your information. The same thing is put in one place, and they are doing it at a larger scale. That's all. And there is they charge you for giving you the space to store your data. Very simply put, the Dropbox is an example, or a Google Drive is an example of a cloud storage. For enterprises, it would be a GCP or an Azure, right? That's set up. That's what your cloud systems are. uh, Based on these cloud systems, there have been many new interesting concepts that have evolved, starting from on-prem to PaaS to IaaS and SaaS. So you would have heard about these. I'll just take 2 minutes to explain with an analogy of a pizza service about what this actually means. So when you look at on-prem is you doing everything at your home. You are the one who are going ahead and creating the dough. You have your own oven. You are cooking it. You are bringing the or chopping the vegetables, doing everything at your home. So on-prem, in this case, the servers and all are also with you, and you put everything by yourself. The second part is infrastructure as a service. In this case, you basically bought more or less a ready to eat sort of a scenario, but you just have to heat it and eat it your place. Platform as a service is the case where you got it delivered by a, let's say, in case of in India, it is Swiggy and Zomato. In case of US, it could be a Uber Eats, where they go to a restaurant and collect the food and deliver it to your place, and you just eat at your place only. Last but not the least, SaaS services. SaaS services are basically you going to a restaurant and eating. You have nothing else to do other than eating the food. So that's the broad level differentiation between SaaS, PaaS, IaaS, and on-prem services, right? Now, I hope you're not that overwhelmed. You can take a small break or take a deep breath, and we'll jump into the AI space immediately. So, but before that, one important thing right now for all the businesses that we have, the biggest question is, show me the money. Where is the money sitting? Well, it is in the data. As we start in the beginning of the session, we already discussed, data is the new oil, and we need to understand this clearly. Agnostic to the industry, data is going to drive everything that we take decisions upon, everything that we monetize in the future. All of this would be driven by data itself. Now, for that to be enabled, you need data science people or data engineers and data analysts. So data science folks are the ones who are analyzing the data. Engineer people basically are putting the data and making it ready for the data scientists to analyze. Analysts are using these models that are created by the data scientists and trying to derive insights out of it. So they are more application oriented, while data scientists are more creation oriented, if I may put it that way, and data engineers are doing the plumbing and activity to help out everyone. Again, the lines between these are blurring day by day because of the advancements that are happening, and the expectations that the people have to be full stack folks in the current day and age is also leading to lines between these being blurred. Now, okay, any light bulb moments till now? If yes, you can feel free to put yes, no, that's also fine. uh, cool. I'll quickly move forward. Now, let's jump into system of cognition, right? System of cognition is nothing but a system which can understand and react. But how AI is, and that's how it is or that's the one which is driving the system of cognition. Now, what is different this time, right? The key difference is this time you have a capability or a system which is capable enough of creating something new, which is capable enough of reasoning with you, and more importantly, interact with you in a natural language. Till now, for anyone to interact with the system, they were supposed to, or they are expected to have some understanding of a programming language, be it C, Java, SQL, so on and so forth, right? But with the current Gen AI models, that uh, hindrance got democratized, or that hindrance was destroyed, and there is no, it's been democratized that anyone can actually interact with this system in a very simple and easy manner. So that's the key differentiator this time. Now, what's been the journey till now? So just to be clear, one important thing to note is AI is not a new thing. It's been there from 1950s or 1940s as such, right? It's been evolving since then. But what is important to note is currently we are at a juncture where the what I mentioned earlier, creating, reasoning, and interacting is possible. Now, however, the first phase of AI, which we were using without knowing it that well, were, let's say, the forecasting models that we had in businesses, or we had the matchmaking models on the Ubers, on the Olas of the world, or we had, let's say, a recommendation model being run by an Amazon to suggest you book bundles that you should be buying, right? All of these were also AI models. It's not that AI, Gen AI came and the earlier AI models are no longer relevant. Those are called as narrow AI models. They are focused, or they are focused on one specific area, and they are very good at that. Be it a classification model. Let's say if you recognize images, and you should be able to identify what is the quality of a bike which is going out of a conveyor belt, right? Whether it is good, bad, ugly, through visual inspection. All of that was possible even earlier, and that's AI as well, right? That's what I wanted to show here, which is narrow AI was what we had earlier, and even we have even right now, and it is a very cost optimized thing per se. The second area which we are currently exploring a lot is the generative AI, which is the one which is able to generate content or interact with you in a human language, is what Gen AI is doing right now. However, that's not the epitome, or that's not the final state of AI. That next step, or it's like a bridge to the next step, which is your AGI. AGI is artificial general intelligence. It is expected that at this stage, the AI models would be at par or slightly beyond the human cognition levels. So it would be able to understand and act, or you won't be able to differentiate between a system and an AI model. That's the basic stage of AGI. Last but not the least is your ASI, which is artificial super intelligence. In this stage, there's no universally accepted definition for it, but at a broad level, you would, along with cognition, there is a consciousness aspect also that would come into play, is what is being claimed or is being thought of. But no one has a agreed upon worldwide accepted definition for ASI as such, but that's expected to be the next stage of AGI. So, we right now we should only be concerned about the first two, until unless we are actually working with OpenAI or somewhere and building those models to reach AGI. The For us, it's more about applications. Let's figure out how can we apply all of this by understanding the few basics aspects of these models now, right? Before we jump into that, assuming that we will achieve AGI or ASI, whatever it would be named back then, later in the day, what do you think the future is going to look like? Is it the Terminator sort of a thing, Ex Machina, Her, or Lucy? You can just put in 1, 2, 3, 4, whichever one you think is appropriate in the chat box, just to check a pulse. I just didn't want to have Westworld as an option, but yeah. Yeah, lovely. Cool. Anyways, I'll move forward because we might run over time. So I'm sure you would have seen the logo of this, right? Any guesses whose logo is this? Any points on that? Okay. Yeah. No points for it, but yes, it's OpenAI for sure. So the whole thing is, in 2022 November, when ChatGPT was launched, is when the entire world kind of got shook up and thought, okay, now it's the time. The entire world is exposed to what it was being worked upon by OpenAI at a planet scale. Not earlier, also GPT-3 and all were there, but those were not used by everyone that easily. But with ChatGPT, there was an interface, or there is a face to the name sort of a scenario, and it exploded this entire space as such. Any ideas on what does GPT in ChatGPT stand for? Okay, it uh, stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer. It seems very complex. I'll explain it in 2 minutes, but it's a very simple concept. But interesting fun fact is, this was actually invented by Google. They had published a paper called as "Attention is Everything, is All You Need." And that was a paper which had actually explained about the transformer model, which is the foundation for all the LLMs that have been built now. There are new models that are coming up as we speak, Mamba, so on and so forth. But even today, transformer models are predominantly the ones which are driving the building of Gen AI models. Now, but a constant question or general question that comes up is, are the GPTs a different from AI? So the answer is no. They are a type of artificial intelligence models. So artificial intelligence and machine learning, the ones which we use very interchangeably. Ideally, artificial intelligence is a broader umbrella. So within that, you have the machine learning side of the world, deep learning, and within deep learning is where you have the transformer models and GANs, which are used for all the generative models that we are seeing today. GANs are predominantly used for image generation. I'll delve deeper into these two to explain you how these work in a minute. But I just wanted to clarify this one key aspect, that is, please don't confuse yourself when people say, hey, I am implementing ML. Someone says I'm implementing deep learning. All of them are part of AI, just that they are sub branches or more specified approaches that one has come up with and have given some name so that they can differentiate. That's all. That's the only difference over here, right? Now GPT explained. So let me explain this. So how transformer models work, right? uh, Imagine a very big Excel sheet, right? You have all the words in English on the as your rows, and you also have them as columns. Now each of them would have a probability associated to coming after or before one of the words. So let's say, if you take in this example that I'm trying to show, fruits is a word and it is linked to fruits are and delicious, right? These are uh, fruits and fruits are the same word, so it's basically the same. There is no difference over there. But fruits r can come after fruits, has a probability of, let's say, 0.5. Delicious could also come at a similar probability, hence being at a similar colors. So this represents the color, the probability of one these words coming after these words. And when you hear people saying it is a 50 billion parameter, 500 billion parameter, 1 trillion parameter models and all, it's nothing but they have created a very big Excel sheet and maintained the probabilities of one coming after the other at one place. So, and what happens is, when you enter a query on ChatGPT or so, what it does is it takes up the uh, entire sentence, understands it, and then tries bringing out the answer from the system by saying what is the probability of the next word. Now there what happens is, it sees, okay, there are three words which has the same probability. It randomly selects one of the three. So that's how this entire model even works. So it's basically trying to see what is the similarity or what is the probability of one word coming after the other, and it is trying to pick that and share it across to you. At the end of the day, it's just doing a prediction model, right? The important thing to notice, the underlying data that they have created is what the most value adding thing is. That's the one which is able to understand, okay, there, this is the relation between this word and this word. I'm trying to oversimplify it. There is a lot of complexity in terms of the query that you're entering being encoded, then the response being decoded, so on and so forth. But broad level, that's the simplest way of understanding it. There is some correlation between two words. How can I ensure that I have an entire sentence built based on the probability of uh, one word after the other, one word coming after the other? So that's the concept of GPTs. And the transformer is this one, which is trying to transform your input query and understand the existing parameters within the Excel that it has, and figure out the output from it, right? Same thing goes with GAN systems. GAN systems are predominantly used for your image generation. So the what happens is, you have a generator and you have a discriminator. Okay, so the system, what this does is, whenever the system generates an image, it then sends to the discriminator. This discriminator has the real man-made images or real data set that is provided to this. Once the it checks both of them and says, no, this is a fake image, or this is a AI generated image, that's a feedback to the generator. That way it keeps improving itself, and it reaches to a point where the discriminator is no longer able to understand which one is a real image and which one is an AI generated image. In that case, what happens is, then the discriminator is again given a feedback saying this is actually a AI generated image, and the loops continues. The benefit of this is, your system keeps on improving continuously, so that there is a tug of war between two AI systems between themselves, and you need not be involved from a manual effort standpoint. And that's why this is predominantly used in your image generation side of the world. For text, you have something called as RLHF, which is basically reinforced human learning through feedback, which is, once you go to OpenAI or ChatGPT even today, you are asked to give a thumbs up or a thumbs down for the responses that you get. And then when you say thumbs up, they ask more feedback for that. So that's a way of feeding back to the system, saying that this is good, bad, ugly, and the systems keep improving from that. That's the whole concept of RLHF as well as GANs, right? But one thing to understand or note is, people have this wrong conceived notion that LLMs are there, everything is sorted, I don't need anything else, LLMs will take care of everything. LLMs will run my business, LLMs will solve all the problems in the world. That's not the case at all. You would still need models which are domain specific. You would still need the narrow AI models to do the right forecasting, which are on the larger sets of data that you have. So please don't have this misconception at all that LLMs will replace everything in the world. That's not the case at all. Maybe once the AGI and all are hit, that might be a case, but right now in the current state of affairs, that's not the case at all. You would still need an orchestrator of sorts which can decide on, let's say you ask a question saying what is the forecast for the demand for oranges for next week. Now an LLM can't figure that out. You need your forecasting model to work on it and give you based on the historic data, be it a moving average that you're applying or any other ARIMA, so on and so forth models being applied to it. So the point I'm trying to put across is, in case if someone comes to you and says, LLMs, I have an LLM and your life is sorted, you can get replaced as a CEO, you can get your entire team members replaced. Please note that's not the case. AI is a augmenter. It's not a okay. My definition of AI is augmenting intelligence, not artificial intelligence. So it's important that we see how we can augment ourselves, our team members, and our consumers or users, rather than thinking that we can automate everything at this juncture. Can't that be achieved? Nothing. It's not that anything we can't achieve it. We can obviously achieve everything that we want to. Just that right now that's not the case. Right, in this example, the whole idea I wanted to showcase is this one, right? Where should I place my t-shirt? What is the demand for my pizza, so on and so forth, are all your narrow AI problem statements, which are solved by existing models in a very good manner. uh, Cool. This is one area I wanted to touch base upon. I've been speaking about LLMs, which stands for large language models, and there is something called as multimodals. So multimodals are nothing. Large language models are basically, they have only one modality, which is text. They understand input as text. They give you output also as text, which is your ChatGPT 3.5. Right, if you take the membership of OpenAI, then you would see you can also generate images. In that case, it's becoming a multimodal, which is it can take input as a text, it can take input as an image, and give you output either in text, image, so on and so forth. So the modalities keep increasing, and now everyone is just running behind this. At this juncture, you would have there are models which are coming out for you to generate videos directly from your text. There are models which are trying to create the entire anime books or manga books out of this directly. So all such models are coming up as we speak, but the whole concept or underlying concept is the same, which is you give it a text, it tries figuring out what is the right probability of either the image, text, so on and so forth, and share it across to you. That's the thing. The one important concept to note is RAGs. So RAG stand for retrieval augmented generation. Now you would have heard of this word called as hallucination, right? Hallucination in case of AI is, you ask it a question, it's not trained on it, or it doesn't know what the answer is in reality. It comes up with some random answer. It says, hey, who is the president of USA in 2050? There's no answer that it has, but it just hallucinates and says, okay, I will be the president, or Harsha is the president of USA, of sorts, right? That's the concept of hallucination. But how do you ensure you overcome that, especially when you want to use it in business applications? You don't want your system to give some random answers. What you want is it has to follow your uh, brand guidelines, FAQs that you have captured, the product documentations that you have captured. Those are to be answered for your customers who are coming and asking the questions. Now that is possible using the RAG systems. In this system, what happens is the system is grounded with the information that you provide, and it tries answering only within from that database that you have the questions from, or the data you have provided it to, right? That's at a broad level the RAG systems are. Okay. uh, I have two key slides that I want to touch base upon. One is, so what is a suggestible AI
You hear me, Vellanki?
Yes,
Just
now
just
it's.
to just to do a time check. We have 10 minutes left. How many slides do you
Okay.
have left? So we allow some time for questions.
Sure. I'll do one thing. I'll just cover these two. The rest of the slides, I wouldn't touch base on them. These I can share the deck across, and people can look
Okay.
into it.
So if you
Most
can
of them
cover the
are
two, that'll be great. Yeah.
correct. I'll just cover these two slides since these are important. Uh, I'll just take 2 more minutes. So the important thing is there a right strategy as such? So there's nothing called as a specific, everything works for all sort of a strategy. But important thing to note is you first figure out what are the areas, first map your existing process flows or existing business workflows or even the user journeys in your apps. Then see what of those can be automated with digitization or through AI as such, and then implement that. The next part is finding the areas where your employees or your customers need an augmentation or a support from an AI system standpoint, and then figuring out the right tools and implementing them could be an approach that you should be considering rather than jumping the bandwagon of saying everything can be automated as such. It's important that everything needs to be contextualized for your particular use case and accordingly worked upon. The other important strategy to notice, see, people tend to sell you the largest model available. If you go to Microsoft, they'll say, "Hey, use GPT-4 for every problem that you have in the world." But that's not necessary. You can validate your problem statements hypothesis using GPT-4, see if it is solving your problem, then jump to a smaller model, which would be much cost efficient and effective for the use cases that you are working on. In case if you have a business which is demanding GPT-4 sort of a model, uh, sure, please go ahead and use it. But most of the cases, at least what I have seen in my experience, 90% to 95% of the cases, you don't need GPT-4 sort of a great models as such. It is superb model, I won't question that at all. But applicability wise, you need not have again a Thor's hammer instead of a small household hammer to nail a small nail. So that's the key aspect. Cool, that's broadly about it. I'll share the deck so that you have the bonus uh, tools that I was talking about. So there are about 30 such tools which can help you with presentations, video creation, so on and so forth.
Super.
Yeah.
Super. That looks great. I'm looking forward to reviewing that. So thank you very much, Vellanki. I think you probably tried to squeeze in one day full of training into 40 minutes, so you can take a breath. It's been a lot of content. So we have about 7 minutes left for any questions from the audience. Maybe let me start with the first question. I'm curious, Vellanki, like from what you've seen so far, if you are like a small and medium business, what kind of use cases or applications are like most in demand for AI tools when you work with these businesses?
So three major use cases that keep coming up. One is the customer support or
Mhm.
customer issue resolution side of the world, because
Mhm.
most of the cases people don't go through the FAQs that you list on your website. They expect your customer support person to explain it to them. Instead of that, if you are able to provide a right conversational chatbot, that helps them a lot. That's one.
Right.
However, that doesn't solve the entire thing. So you need an embedded or an integrated chatbot, which is it can understand that, okay, if I'm not able to solve this problem, I'll escalate or share it across to a person who can solve it for you.
Mhm.
Also, those nuances have to be taken care of. But yes, that's one big use case.
Mhm.
Second big use case is for handling the inbound and outbound reach outs, which is when your customers reach out to you, generally you would have seen there is an auto no reply sort of a response that comes up. Hey, thanks for reaching out. One of our executives will get back to you soon. But
Mhm.
that is a major letdown for many people, as in it doesn't
Yeah.
resonate with at all. Especially after the fact that they have filled an entire form to reach this stage, right? So in that case, people are using it to send out a customized response for every person, saying, "Hey, thanks for filling this details. Basis this information, these are the four tools of ours which can help you a lot. However, our
Mhm.
team will go through your responses and get back to you." That makes it much more meaningful for
Yeah.
people use. the third bigger use case or third use case as such is it is not in demand at this juncture, but it is something which is slightly or picking up of sorts, which is
Mhm.
people realizing that they are sitting on a lot of content within their companies, or data, more than content, data within the companies. Can I have it at my fingertips on a WhatsApp, wherein I can just ask, hey, how are the
Mm.
sales for the last 1 month? Today's there are hundreds of dashboards,
Mm.
tabs of the world and all solving for this, but that's not intuitive. Even if I want to ask something to my team, I just put it on my WhatsApp and I get the response. So
Mhm.
can I make that a possibility is another area which is being explored a lot. So these are
Mm.
again, there are use cases from a marketing or a content strategy standpoint, but yes, these are the ones which are at a broad level
So like
being used.
take my own data pool and then be able to converse with it in a
Exactly.
user friendly way. That's a great use case.
If you enjoyed this, click the thumbs up and subscribe for more videos just like it. The algorithm thinks you'll enjoy this video next.